Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome Her Excellency Ambassador.
A very good morning to all of you. Thank you, Dr. Lucas, for that expanded detailed description of the future home of Wakanda City of Return, East Africa. We appreciate you, we honor you. Dr. Chimuri and the One Voice Consortium team and all the organizers of this very important gathering, we thank you and we appreciate you. Thank you for all your work and reminding us once again that as we live in these faraway lands, to whom much is given, much is expected. As a Black woman, as a mother, as a grandmother, sometimes in my own quiet moments, as I try to think and go through a journey of answering the question, why are we the most deplorable people on earth? I often end up in a not so good place, a place where I feel hopeless, a place where I feel completely defeated. But then, as a Black woman, like we always do, I dust myself up and I start thinking, who do I need to go after? What do I need to do to untangle myself? Because I feel all kinds of shackles around me. I feel so many knees on my neck. And I say to myself, I am the Black woman who gave birth to humanity. I got this. I'm going to get out of it. So just one by one, I start understanding my circumstances. I start appreciating what has been done to me, what has been done to us. And after I equip myself with understanding and the games that they play, I boil down to two things. One, the need for unity of purpose. The unity that you talked about, not just unity, but unity of purpose. Unity that is strategic. And after we unite, we then need to pull our funds together. If we do just those two things. It takes me down to the 13 Jewish men. We met in Tel Aviv in 1945 in a library that didn't even have a place to meet. But that was after Holocaust. They understood they'd been beaten down, they'd been defeated. But they also understood that few as they are, what was needed at that moment was unity of purpose. 13 men. The decisions they made on that day in Tel Aviv are the decisions that have led to the Jewish people that we have today in the world. If I may give you a comparison, there are 15 million Jewish diaspora in the world. 15 million, that's it. And almost 400 million African diaspora in the world. They have this little bitty piece of land called Israel, a desert. We have over 30 million square kilometers of a massive landmass, the richest landmass on earth. The landmass that has everything and anything you could ever think of. That's us. 400 million people. Over 30 million square kilometers of land. We are the scum of the earth. A little bitty piece of desert. 15 million Jewish diaspora. They rule the world. Why? The financial resources. When those rednecks were running around in Charlottesville with tiki torches saying the Jews will not replace us. Did you ever see a single Jew on television? No. But I can assure you, it was taken care of. It was addressed. Have you ever wondered why, of all the embassies in Washington, the only one that is protected by the CIA is the Jewish embassy? Why? Money talks. So let's make no mistake, my brothers and sisters. As we run around and complain about what the World Bank is doing to us, as we run around and complain about the useless bulldog, toothless bulldog, the UN, as we run around complaining about what the World Trade Organization is doing, as we run around complaining about what our own leaders are doing, as we complain about everything that's being done to us. It really doesn't matter. Those words will be hollow if we have no funding to back it up. It boils down to finances. Even our own African leaders, the reason they do not reach out to us is because they know we have no money. The diaspora. We can't see it within ourselves to bring our funds together. Oh my goodness, I did not see the professor here. Professor Chihuri, how could you make me commit such a sin? Professor, I am so sorry, because actually I was wondering, I said, where's the professor? You're hiding. My sincere apologies, Professor. Please allow me to acknowledge you. And as an African woman, if I wasn't putting this long dress, I would get on my knee. I am so sorry. I really am. My apologies, sir. Please, I cherish and honor this man. I have watched every single one of his videos. We appreciate you. And he is the voice on the continent that keeps us awake, alert, and oriented. Thank you, Professor. It's all about money. If we do not pull our funds together, if we do not strategize, we will always be noisemakers. I would hope that those of us at this day and age, there's nothing else Professor Lumumba could say that you haven't heard. There's nothing else professors in the big universities could say and write about and talk about that hasn't been spoken and talked about. The question then becomes, how long are we going to continue to be stupid? We do some of the dumbest things on earth as Black people. Especially those of us who live in the diaspora. Especially in the United States. The melting pot. Everything that we could be emulating, excuse me, is here. Ask for the voices of the Jewish diaspora, the Chinese diaspora, the Indians, the Irish Americans, German Americans. Loud and clear. Why can't we copy what others are doing? Let's take a page out of the Jewish playbook. 1 million of us, just 1 million, with $1. That's $1 million. Now let's take 1 million of us with $83 a month for 1 year. That's 1 billion. It's that simple. The question then becomes, when Professor Lucas stands up and says, let's start with the Kenyans. One Voice Consortium, we're sitting at what? All those organizations that have come together, easily 50,000. There's another organization that called me, they have about 100,000. Kenyans only. That's before we go to any other countries. Can we not see it within ourselves? To say this month, I am not taking my kids to McDonald's. I'm putting that money aside. So we can create that unity of purpose. And never have to worry about what Professor Lucas is going to do with that money. Because if Professor Lucas chooses to run away with that money, it's on him. Let's hold him accountable. But not doing anything and just believing that because we were told that we're black like the devil, that we cannot trust ourselves, that I'm automatically not going to trust him because I just know he's going to run off with my money. And don't get me wrong, there are some who have run off with some money for sure. But we cannot stop trying, because out of 10 of us good people, 1 of us might be a bad apple. And that is the disease that we suffer from as black people. A white person can come in and ask you for $1,000. You'll give it up nicely. But a black brother can come in and ask you for $1.
Okay.
You will take them through the ringer. You will quiz them up and down to justify why they want that $1. My brothers and sisters, we are here to talk about what can we do as African diaspora to help our circumstances at home. Yes, we have many complaints. Yes, we have lots of fears. But you see, when we unite and we have a plan and we execute a plan that is made up of people of like minds, a plan that have a people who believe in why we as a generation must put an end to this carnage. It is a plan that's going to work. Failure is not an option. For those of you who are naysayers about the program that has been presented to us today by Dr. Lucas, ask yourself, you have children, you got grandchildren, you have children or friends. Is this the world that you want to live for them? Go home, look at your children. The world that you live in today, is this the world that you want to leave behind for them? The answer is no. Our children cannot continue to live in a world that discriminates against them simply because they have the ability to produce melanin. It's unacceptable, and we need to take ownership of it.
Yeah, it's
the Wakanda City of Return is a city that was conceptualized out of the realization that our brothers and sisters, descendants of the formerly enslaved, need a place to call home. But also those of us who are diaspora but born in Africa, we too need a place to call home. A place of our own, a place we can be proud of. Let me take a moment to talk about our Afro-descendant brothers and sisters. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to grow up in this world, generation after generation, and not know where you come from? I was not aware of that phenomenon until about 10 years ago. I just have never asked myself, where do you come from? I just knew it. But we got millions of children of Africa, generation after generation, do not know where they come from. How empty a feeling that can be. President Nana of Ghana felt that there was a need for a place called a place of return. Some of you may not be aware, but 80% roughly of the Afro-descendants that were taken out of Africa as slaves, they were pulled into Ghana from all over West Africa. Those who came to North America left through the Cape Coast. They called them Cape Coast castles, we call them dungeons. And 20 miles away, those who went to South America and to the Caribbean, they left out of the Elmina dungeons. It is therefore appropriate and fitting that the first city of return be built on that soil. The soil where their ancestors last set foot on the African soil. A place that we can also use as a focal point to pay homage and pilgrimage to our ancestors who suffered. So it is on a nice evening, I get a beautiful phone call from Brother Chiwari. He said, Ambassador, I want to come and attend the meeting that you're having about the city of return. We, One Voice Consortium, we've been listening to you and we'll hurt you. But we feel as there's going to be the city of return, West Africa in Ghana, we need the city of return, East Africa in Kenya. And so the conversations began. The conversations about the building of something spectacular. Something that we can stand on the tallest mountain and claim to be our own. Something, as Professor Lucas said, we don't need anybody. We're tired of handouts. We don't need handouts. Why? Because we can. 1 million of us with $1, remember that. And let's give $1 every day. Now let's give $1 for the next 2 years, the next 5 years. It doesn't even have to be you all the time. Let's just average 1 million people giving $1 at any given time. Let's each and every one of us make that commitment to say, I will give up that $1 and I will not stop to think about, has my neighbor done it yet? Because it doesn't matter. We're asking all of you to board this train with one thing and one thing in mind. A commitment to what we can do as Black people. A commitment to making this world a better place for our children. A commitment and demand for a world, particularly a world for Black people, that is fair, that is just and equitable. A commitment to also say, as Black people, we will create a world that is free of racism, bigotry, and hate, and we demand it. This train must be full of those who believe in what we can do when we are united. The Wakanda City of Return is something that long past due. I know we struggle with unity as Black people, but that healing that we desire starts with the mind. For some of us, it seems mission impossible to not believe in what white people do. The journey to the healing, the journey to freeing ourselves from the legacy of slavery and colonization is an uphill battle. Let's make no mistake about it. But when we understand the genesis of how we ended up with the mindset that we do, maybe and just maybe, it will make the journey, the healing process, just a little bit better. I will ask some of you right now, what color is the devil? Answer that question sincerely to yourself. Without thinking, automatically all of you said black. What color are the angels? Answer it sincerely to yourself. Don't you feel stupid? Who has died and gone to heaven and seen angels? Who has died and gone to hell and seen a black devil? Except they came to Africa and found some most amazing people. Powerful kingdom with well-established civilizations and educational systems, and they wondered, how on earth are we going to defeat such a people? So they sent their missionaries and they introduced religion. There's nothing wrong with the Bible. It's a good book. It talks about righteousness, how to live with one another. If we can just stick to the 10 commandments in the Bible, this world would be a better place. But they twisted it. Jesus Christ, who we know all very well, hair like wool, crimson skin. I argue with my girlfriend all the time. She reads the Bible. But when Mary and Joseph were running away from King Herod, where were they told to go? Egypt. Why Egypt? Because in Egypt, it was blended with others that looked like him. Over the years, Jesus Christ's color has changed. So they came and taught us about the colors, the green, white, yellow, black, white. All nice and good. But when it came to Jesus Christ and the angels and the devil, they said the devil is black. But then they turned around and said, you too, people, you're black like the devil. And we said, okay. We never questioned it centuries ago. And then they turned around and said, never mind how this tablecloth looks like it's white. We too are white like the angels. And we said, okay. We never questioned it. I'm emphasizing this point, my brothers and sisters, because it is important that you understand the genesis of why you feel the way you do. The genesis of black self-hate, the genesis of black lack of trust in each other, it was instilled upon us. So for centuries, We have worshipped white angels that look like them. And subconsciously, as we worship the white angels and the white Jesus, we are worshiping them. And as we run away from the devil, we are running away from ourselves. You see, that is why wherever you go, you're there. Because they have told you you're undesirable. You're black, you're not good, you're defective, you need fixing. They did an experiment a few years back. 5-year-olds were given dolls, black dolls, white dolls, and they were told to choose. Naturally, the white girls picked white dolls. What was amazing was that the little black girls picked white dolls. And when asked why, they said because the black dolls were ugly. These are girls under 5 years of age. And I know no mother in their right mind would sit their children down and say, you're black, you're ugly. But somehow there are subliminal messages all around us that are telling them that that which you represent is bad and undesirable. We are on automatic pilot of stupidity when it comes to this. We automatically know we feel inferior. I was talking to one of my nieces. She's a nurse, getting ready to have a meeting at the hospital. There was one chair left in the front row, so she took it. And as she was sitting there, one white nurse was coming in. Without thinking, she felt she should get up and give the front seat to the nurse. She actually got up and started walking away, and then she remembered Auntie and how Auntie talks. She ran back and she took her seat. She called me after the meeting. She said, Auntie, you won't believe what I almost did. And I wasn't even thinking I was giving up that seat to another white nurse. But such is the life that we live as black people. Stop. Be in the present. Check yourself. Why do you feel the way you do? It is precisely because of that mentality that we are unable to fight back. It is that same mentality that's making it difficult for our ministers to look at the colonizers in the face and say, what you're doing is wrong. It is the same mentality that's keeping people in leadership roles to speak truth to power. Fear. Some of the abuses meted to the Africans are so blatant. It is scary that things can be so bad. And we, look at us, intelligent people, we're doing nothing about it. I was just chatting with a friend of mine from Zimbabwe. We were promised the remains of our ancestors who were murdered by the British, and they took them to Europe, to Britain. And when Mugabe first came to power, 1980, he demanded that we get those remains back. He wanted to bury them, proper burial. Only last year, they said, okay, we'll let you have them. Guess what? 2021, we still don't have the remains. Now guys, who are these people? Think about it. These are just remains of people that they murdered. Evidence of murder. Hundreds of our ancestors are kept in Europe, and they refuse to give them back. Why? Now you see why I feel sometimes defeated? If we can't address something so basic, how long would a finger of a British soldier remain in Kenya? How long will a toe of a German soldier remain in Mozambique? Not even an hour. And because it's Africans, it's okay. And then we sit here, intelligent as we are, we say, okay. We go to Europe, we visit these beautiful museums, we pay, and there's a statue right here, clearly stated, stolen from Benin. and we pay to see it. African artifacts are littered throughout Europe, telling you exactly where they came from. And when we say we want our artifacts back, they say, no, we're not giving it to you. And what do we say? Okay, if I go back here, we go back to Africa. What are the ministers of culture doing? Why haven't they all come together as ministers of culture throughout Africa and say, Europe, we will not engage you until this wrong is righted? And why are we, African women, you know what we do when we get mad? We come together, we take off our clothes. And that's the only way our men will listen to us. Why haven't we come together, taken off our clothes and say, we will not? I think I have a sister from Liberia. Where is she? What did the Liberian women do when the Liberians would not stop the war? They said, no sleeping with our men until the war is over. It took one man anyway. This moment is now. The blatant abuse of Africa has got to come to an end. And we have a responsibility to come together. No better way than to show them that we don't need you. Let's unite behind Professor Lucas. Let's unite behind Brother Chihuri. Let's answer the call from Professor Lumumba and do what we must do. We don't need them. When they know that black people have risen, black people have united, black people are taking matters in our own hands, and that we are going to reclaim that place that we gave up centuries ago, we are going to take our Africa back to where we were, the center of. We are going to remind the world that we told the world what it means to be human. We told the world what civilization is all about. That's what Professor Lucas is talking about. That's what Dr. Chihuri is talking about. The building of that Africa that once was. We have it within ourselves to do just that. I stand here to say, Professor Lucas, thank you for what you are championing. Professor Chihuri, thank you for gathering us and bringing us together and keeping us grounded and reminding us that to whom much is given, much is expected. That we must own our Africa, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that the building of the Africa that we want is our responsibility and ours alone. In the past, you could say, where do we begin? We don't know what to do. Well, he was just right here. Professor Lucas told you that he has opened the door. Do you know what it takes to plan a city? We're talking working 24/7. And he's doing it with his team. Yours is to just give up $1 every month. To just say, Professor Lucas, where do I put my money? That's all you need to do. But I can tell you with what I know, the engagements I've had with Dr. Chihuri, I can tell you they have no intentions of taking your money. They got enough of their own. The question is, are you a black person who is awoken? In this country, they say, are you woke? Are you a black person who can say, I can see clearly now? Or are you the black person who's still waiting for the white man to do it first? Or better still, do it for you? Enslavement. No. It's time for you and I to have a serious conversation with the image in the mirror. And ask the image in the mirror some very straightforward questions. Are you colonized? And are you committed to remaining colonized? Or are you going to say 20 years from now, I want to be able to sit down with my children and grandchildren, and I'm going to tell them what we would have done. My brothers and sisters, we come together, we strategize, we said no to colonization, no to abuse of the African. We pulled our monies together and we started the rebuilding of the Africa that was with the Lindi Makanda City of Return. That while the mission is not yet accomplished, children, but this is what we did. When there were problems in our Africa, we did something. Or are you going to say when there were problems in Africa, we did nothing? Think of that conversation with your grandchildren. How beautiful it would be to hold their hands to say, let's go home. We built this. They came to our countries, they destroyed us, but finally we defeated them. This is what we did. And that's what Dr. Lucas is talking about. A legacy that we can be proud mothers and proud fathers and walk tall, telling our children what we would have done. Professor Lucas is calling. Brother Chihuri is calling. Professor Lumumba has traveled thousands of miles to come tell you the gospel. The question is, are you going to answer the call? The story of Africa is a simple story, but a very sad one. It is our story, and I'm sticking to it. I hope you will too. Thank you.